Daniel Bryan, like on Friday night with the new Eddie Guerrero jacket I got. When I wore it, I put it on. I'm like, I'm gonna make everybody be like, I don't care anymore. Like, you can look at me any way you want.
Right.
Well, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Wow.
Maybe the older that you get, it's like it's a trend now.
Yeah.
You're cool.
Yeah, you're not seeing me wear this stuff when I was in junior high.
Right?
I'm not wearing an Alpha Club Jericho shirt. I'll tell you that right now.
I even remember like there was one time where I had I started recording like on my phone like my videos, and then I remember someone from school, they were on my phone, and then they looked through my photos and they saw a video and like, what is this? I'm like, oh, nothing. And I was like, and they're like, oh yeah, this guy, whatever. He was like, on his phone, he was like, oh yeah, John Cena this, John Cena that, and I was like, oh my god, okay, whatever.
My whole thing was that no one ever watched it, but everyone knew what was happening.
Yeah, it's like, how do you know what's happening when you don't watch it?
Right, exactly.
And they would, I don't know what that is, but hey, so Demolition, they picked the heart fight. What?
It's funny because even my friend from school, like we started watching wrestling in elementary school. He was like my best friend. His name was Tony. And in high school, I don't know how, but like we started talking about wrestling again. And I remember he said, I was like, yeah, I actually never stopped watching wrestling. He was like, and then he was like, yeah, me neither.
I watched it since I was like 8 years old, and I wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to do. Fortunately, I got married young, but that was my plan, though. So that's why I'm envious when you guys are so young doing the wrestling, because I think to myself, like, man, that's what I really wanted to do. I just didn't pursue it. Yeah. So, it's kind of cool. That's why I think I find it really cool that, you pursued it and you're living your dream of becoming a wrestler, because I didn't do it.
I think I'm doing the same thing. Maybe for my daughter, man. Damn.
And both you guys working off each other. It's funny because you guys push each other to be better, than what you guys can stay. What is it? At a certain level, and you guys are pushing each other to get to that next level.
Yeah.
But especially so young, being on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood too, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was
that pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was a cool
stuff on
experience.
TV.
Yeah, I definitely watched that back.
Did your mom record it?
Cool. Yeah, I recorded it.
Did you record it?
I recorded it.
That's all that matters, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You go back and go, yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
right
and I remember I even put it like on my Snapchat, and after everyone was like, "What the hell? You're on TV? You're on TV?" I'm like, "Yeah, you already know."
Yeah.
Do you take him as a little brother now?
Yeah. He's. Yeah, we do. Yeah. I think we do have that relationship where, like even just on personal level, I think that's what's cool. We have a good balance of like wrestling and personal life. If we need each other personally, then we're there. If he needs something from me, because he's barely becoming an adult, and I'm 23. That's another thing I think that really helps out is that I'm older by 5 years? I think it's like 5 years. So. Yeah. And oftentimes you're like, that's a big age gap, but I don't care. Like it's like we're the same age sometimes. I don't know. I'm still a kid at heart, so it's like
me too. You could tell by me messing up loving the Dodgers. I'm honestly replaying it in my head.
I don't think that's being a little kid anymore, bro.
I think that's old age.
That's old age, man. That's the other direction. Other direction.
You know what? Honestly, real quick. To go back to, I honestly just forgot they were in the World Series. I meant to say playoffs when I was talking about the tickets. Yeah, that's what it was. It broke my heart that they lost.
Don't do that. Don't try to come out. He just he talked about it. Yeah, my buddy texted me.
You know what?
I know. And
then the whole time I'm thinking about
3 minutes apart.
The whole time I'm thinking about the World Series, like talking about my friend texting me, which I'm not gonna say his name, but if he's listening, I'm sure he's gonna give me shit. He's a huge Dodger fan. But as soon as I don't know why, in my head, my mouth was saying World Series, but in my head I was saying playoffs. Like in my head I was like, oh, the playoffs, Dodger playoffs, but it was saying World Series. So sorry, Dodger fans. When they get to play the Cleveland Indians, then I'll care about it. But it's I'm sorry. Now back to Mr. Lucas and Mr. Jake here, real quick. Now that you guys are teaming, of course, and you did the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and you guys are teaming more in 2018, is there a little envy because he gets a little bit more of a singles. He gets booked more as a single star, maybe, and you're still kind of breaking out of it, or
yeah, I mean, somewhat, yeah. Like I even told him like one of my goals for 2018 is trying to get on AWS. That's something that like I really want to get on, because I know that's even before I started like training. I like looked at like what are like some of the like promotions out there, and AWS was like the top one. So I was like, okay, like yeah. So that's I don't know if it's really envy, but
guess I'm trying to start a little split here.
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning. Go ahead.
No. Like I'm like it's like maybe a bittersweet, or if anything, it motivates me even more to try to get on his level.
Yeah.
Like if he's on doing this, I want to like do that or do something like
It pushes
just
you.
as yeah basically.
Do you get like does he message you or say like, hey, it's cool that you're on AWS
Well, I'm
and
coming.
yeah, no, I'm saying like, do you kind of
I'm
feel
on
it?
my
Like,
way.
you tell him like, hey, that's cool, you're on AWS, because I'm sure he's happy for you. But do you ever feel like, do you ever tell him like, hey, be patient, I'm older, it's gonna take a little time, and just like you said, because you started before he did too.
Right. I don't think we've really experienced that. Like, I unfortunately we're pretty tame. Like, there's no drama, Like, he's actually.
If you ever want to feel like you're a little better,
Why not?
a super kick to a barbershop.
won't hurt.
And throw him through a
Won't
window.
hurt, right?
We have a glass right here. No,
I mean, if anything, he's been really supportive. Like my match with B-Boy at AWS is probably my biggest match to date.
I was in the audience for that, and that was really great. That was a great match.
Thank you,
That
thank you,
was,
much
I think,
appreciated.
Top four of the year for me.
Thank
as
you.
a fan.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and it really.
Go ahead. No.
It and I've never told him this, but it meant a lot to me to see him there. Like, he's never really, because he wasn't on the card. So whenever he's at a show, whether we're wrestling single, it's because he's on the card. So
Right.
we're watching each other wrestle. But that specific night, he wasn't on the card. He just happened to go. We rode together that night, right? Yeah. And he was like, hey, I want to go to AWS, and obviously it was to show face and to be there. But to me, it meant a lot more to have him be there in such a big match for me, And I looked out at the crowd during the match, and there's this sort of a safety. I mean, he did some weird motion towards me to try to make me break character.
I think you should throw him through the window now. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was definitely like there's a sense of security that I feel when he's around. And Brody's even mentioned that. He's like, you're a different person when Lucas is around, and he means that in a good way. And like, he messaged me, right? We talk after our matches, and he said that was your best match you've ever had. And to hear that from him was really dope, because I know that we grow up and we're supposed to be competitive with each other. I want him to be better. I always tell him, I want you to be better than me, because that'll push me to not let you be. You know what I mean? Like, it'll keep us on that level. Yeah. I don't ever want to feel stale or grow. When the new year started, like, I messaged him, and it's not just him. It's we have our own little group. Yeah. It's like him and Alonzo and Dom Kubrick. The four of us is like our little clique. And I told them, like, we need to push each other. Like, we need to. I understand. Like, and we can't be nice. If you have a bad match, I'm going to tell you have a bad match. I'm going to tell you why you had a bad match. Like, I don't want us to be like, oh, that was cool. Yeah, that was good. Congratulations. Like, tell me I messed up. Tell me I sucked. Tell me that was crappy, know? And I think that's the love we have for each other. And I think it definitely helps when it works out.
Definitely should help.
Yeah.
So
you need to be Richard. You need to be his Richard. That's how he is with me. He'll tell me I suck. I'm telling you, he's not gonna let me live this Dodger flub down for like a year.
The next time around.
Yeah, next time around. Well, that's good. You guys. So you guys really do see each other like brothers.
yeah, he's the little brother that I wanted, but I got a sister instead.
I thought you were saying, I was like, wow. They call out his little brother.
No, I have a little sister who's only 2 years removed from him.
Oh, okay.
And so I asked for a brother, but I got a sister.
I wanted a little girl after the oldest, and I got so I'll trade you.
I'm cool, so I'm not.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm good.
You're
Play
fine.
it safe now.
Play it
Play it safe.
Hey, what happened to Alonso? I haven't heard much. Is he still active or?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard too much.
He just wrestled Friday at EWF
okay.
versus
Okay.
Tiki
Man, that was a great match.
Yeah.
I heard.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I know he was more active, I guess, social media wise, and then he kind of hasn't done too much. So maybe that's why I haven't been able to keep
He's
up.
a little busier now. Just like life happens.
Yeah.
You know, so he's probably working and getting stuff growing up. So,
Yeah.
but he's doing really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So now I'm gonna ask you a very hard question, and
Okay.
I'm gonna get some heat over this.
Okay.
So just be ready. I
I think I know what it is.
This is no, I don't think it's that. Maybe, but a couple weeks ago at Ground Zero. So if it is what you think, go ahead and tell me. You wrestled True Grit.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the match was good from what I
Uh-huh.
heard. But there's one thing that they've asked me, like, because you're smaller than Jake,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Do you get that a lot? Like, there was somebody that said, like, oh, well, he's too small.
Uh-huh.
Lucas is too small to be in the ring with True Grit.
Yeah.
Like, I know the match was good,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure, first of all, how do you put the match together? And second of all, does it bug you when you hear that? I'm sure, is that the first time you hear it, or have you heard it more?
No,
So you already knew.
I've
You already knew.
It was a good match.
I've
I
definitely,
saw that one too.
I've definitely heard it a lot. Like I've heard it from like my parents will even tell me like, oh, they push me like, oh, go to the gym, all this stuff, and
But you do work out, right?
yeah, no, I do.
No, because I've seen you.
He snaps me when he's in the
Yeah,
Because, to defend you real quick, I have you could tell me it was the same issue. I had a baseball player who was real thin, like
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and he would go to the gym all the time, but he just could not. And he would eat. He would ask me like, Dave, how do I gain weight? I go, well, do what I do, eat at midnight, and you'll gain probably like 10. And even if he ate at midnight, he just couldn't gain the weight.
yeah, and it's weird too because like it'll even like I'll gain weight. I'm like, okay, good, and like nothing will like. I'll still go to the gym. I'll still eat heavy, and then I start dropping weight. I'm like, what? How does this happen? Like, I just don't understand it. But I've definitely been in a situation where like my opponent is obviously the bigger guy, and I feel like I've like learned how to like wrestle with someone that's bigger than me, and that's to be expected. And I feel like it's almost easier now for me because I've had so many matches like that. So with True Grit, I feel it was nothing really different.
Right.
In the tag aspect, I think it's easier because we're always thinking of things that complement our size difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's the one flying and I'll be the one holding the opponent. Like for a tag move, for example. You know what I mean? Like we did this one thing. We did a neck breaker to Haas, and he's the one who came off the top while I held Haas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like we play off. It helps that we play off in the tag team sense.
Yeah.
Do you get more motivated? Like, for example, you put the big match on YouTube or whatever, and somebody comments like, "Oh, this is not believable. You're too small." Do you go out there with like, or you already know that people are going to be like, "Oh, you're too small to be in the ring with this guy."
Yeah.
Do you make it your goal maybe that night to just like say, okay, I'm going to shut everybody up and say like, look, I can hang with these guys, or do you just go in there and do your own thing? And that's for Lucas, for those, I forgot you can't see us.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely feel like even like those comments, like they don't affect me. I just go out there and do my own thing. Like I feel that's also something that's helped me like with YouTube. YouTube, like you'll get all those hate comments, and after a while you grow thick skin and it's like, okay, I really don't care. Like I'm gonna go do my thing, and if you don't like it, I mean, you don't really need to watch if you don't want to. But,
and then of course you always have those trolls that just want to go on there and give you a hard time. Of course.
Exactly. It doesn't really bother me.
So Richard, as a fan, because you were there for Ground Zero,
Yes, I was.
and you saw the match. Did you see the same thing? Like when
Yeah,
he
I
first
did.
walked out there,
Yeah,
you know, like
in the very beginning of the match, you guys came out.
that was your first time seeing Lucas, right?
No, I've
Oh,
seen,
okay.
I've seen him a few times. I thought the same thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. You ended up with Jesse, right? And you ended up with Haas outside.
No.